Hi, I'm Catherine Alexander, founder of Bridge to Partnership and the Coming Home Community Project, the Coming Home Project community. And I welcome you. I am going to talk about community today, but I'm going to use a very different word, and that's ecology. And I'm doing that for a particular reason because community is nice. We feel like we know what it is. It's a bunch of people who kind of live and work together. It could be a tighter group where there's focus on a specific religion or project or something, and they see each other regularly over time. And we think of those things as communities. But in the natural world, a community is a much different thing. And that's been one of the problems, is because we see natural communities like our own, and we don't see the richness and value that's actually there. And we don't understand the richness and value that we are missing. So an ecology is a group of assorted plants, animals, insects, animals, nematodes, bacteria, fungi, viruses that all live together. But more important, they have decided to live together for a very long time. So this is one of the reasons why old growth forests are so incredibly powerful and vital, because you can't replace them. You can replant the plants, it's true, and you can replant the forest as it was, and that's true too. And it certainly is better than just planting trees or a bunch of plants, which is what we mostly do. However, it's the age of the community that really is part of the secret ingredients that makes it as strong and resilient as it is. So I want to rephrase that, because in human communities, we come and go all the time. There are very few communities where people have actually lived together for, decades even. Small towns are where we used to find that, and not so much anymore. There are some countries where we still find that, very much so, especially in Africa, in the more tribal villages where you're there for life. So those kinds of communities have very deep roots. They are very resilient because they actually really know each other. They understand other participants' weaknesses and strengths, and they've strategized around them. So when a crisis comes, they already have all that going for them. And that is very, very important. Ecologies are robust, resilient, incredibly diverse, but very stable. So the two key pieces for a strong community is time and local. That's one of the problems with our Zoom world. I've had great experiences. I have friends on Zoom that I've never met in person. That's all true. But it's very different from living with people on a day-to-day basis in an intimate way, so that you actually do know them. When I think of the longhouses of the Eastern American Indians, Iroquois, um, they had 20 families living in a house, in one house, in a longhouse. And so during the winter, you were very close to everybody else who was there. So you would know those people. So if you assume 20 families at 4 people a family, which is an assumption, you have about 100 people there. So the kids are raised by everybody, and the kids know everybody. So they have more than one model of how to be when they grow up. They learn lots of lessons about what to do and not to do based on all those adults' behavior. It's a very rich and resilient learning environment. Most Western cultures have absolutely nothing like that now. If you're a family, an intact family of 4, and we have families of 6 or 8 kids or 9 kids, but mostly it's 2. So you have 4 people, and sometimes only 3, because the father has left for one reason or another. This is not a really good sampling of how humanity is. So we have a very small understanding of what's possible among us. We haven't experienced many other people other than our immediate family. It's always a surprise when people are different. And we have a very small learning pool. So we don't have many experiences to draw from, which means that we're not as resilient. We don't have the wide range of options that people who live in a tighter community develop. And that's really important. That's why ecologies are so important, because those agreements have been worked on for decades, sometimes for millions of years, which means they're very fine-tuned. Every aspect of that community really understands what its gift is, the role it plays, what it needs and can expect from the community, and how it's going to be supported by the others. That's something that we really don't have a mechanism to learn from. So I'm really encouraging us to think about developing ecological communities. Can I say that? It is really getting to know each other that makes all the difference. That takes time, and it means being located in the same place. Co-located is how we would say it. So communities, ecologies are vital to the system. And the more diverse they are, the richer and the more resilient they are. So homogeneous communities are really very weak and have a kind of poverty because of the lack of diversity, the lack of possibility, the lack of other skills and interests and expertise that will be brought in by a more diverse group. So old forests are incredibly diverse and become more so over time, not less, more so. We're so used to making the world simple, easy to understand and easy to manage. So we're always very busy reducing that diversity. And that does not make us more resilient. It makes us way more susceptible to problems and challenges because we simply don't have the resources to deal with it or the experience base that we really need. So the more diverse your community, the richer, the more resilient you're going to be. Now, diversity cuts across all angles. It's in every capacity. So the more difference you're around, the stronger and more resilient you will be. That's one of the things that I miss in Spokane, where I live. We are not a very diverse community. And other people from other countries and other places and other lifestyles really bring a wealth of information and ideas that you just can't think of on your own. I mean, it's so interesting how we take for granted what we've experienced. Of course, it's just the way it is. But our experiences are so different. And bringing those together makes us so rich and so vital and opens up so many new possibilities that wouldn't have been there without those interesting others. So a community, an ecology, and diversity all go hand in hand. And I have to throw in there reciprocity because that's how those agreements happen. What's good for you is good for me. What's good for me is good for you. And it's the good for that counts. If you find it valuable, even though it's difficult and hard and I don't quite get it, I should honor that because there's something in there that serves. And if I can distill that for myself and begin to realize the value of whatever that strange and unusual thing is, then I've expanded my repertoire. I have become more vital, more resilient, more brilliant in my own space because of you. So the Ubuntu of the African tribes is really true. I am me because of you. It is that interaction, the interdependence, another value, that reciprocity that we share that makes us vital, strong, and robust together, way more than we could ever be separated. So really understanding the value and the gift that being different brings is really useful, especially if we're creating communities, which a lot of people are now. We're looking to the future, and how can we find people that are of like mind enough, but bring so many other resources to the table that we will have the resilience to go through difficult times. And whether those times are weather, or whether those times are economic, or wherever they come from, it is community that makes the difference. And community, to be truly strong, healthy, and resilient, needs to be an ecology. So I'm Catherine Alexander, bridgetopartnership.com and community.living-regeneratively.world is the Coming Home Project. So please join us. DM me, ask me questions. Regenerative leadership is about creating ecologies and communities and learning how to do that. So it's about acting where you are to make sure that where you are is resilient and thrives under adversity. Talk to you soon.